I'm going to take a trip in that old gospel ship. I'm gone far beyond the sky. I'm gonna shout and sing till heaven rings when I bid this world goodbye. I have good news to bring, and that is why I sing. All my joys with you I'll share. I'm going to take a trip in that old gospel ship, and I'm going sailing through the air. I'm going to take a trip in that old gospel ship. I'm going far beyond the sky. I'm gonna shout and sing till heaven rings when I bid this world goodbye. I can scarcely wait. I know I won't be late. I'll spend my time in prayer. And when the ship comes in, I'll leave this world of sin and go sailing through the air. I'm going to take a trip in that good old gospel ship. I'm going far beyond the sky. I'm gonna shout and sing till heaven rings when I bid this world goodbye. If you are ashamed of me, you ought to not be. Yes, you'd better have a care. If too much fault you find, you will surely be left behind while I'm sailing through the air. Well, I'm gonna take a trip in that good old gospel ship. I'm going far beyond the sky. I'm gonna shout and sing till heaven rings when I bid this world goodbye. Well, hello and welcome to the Bible with Briscoe. I will be your narrator, Shenandoah Briscoe, and we are going to get through the Bible in 1 year. Today is day 56, and we'll be covering Numbers 12 through 14 and Mark 5:21 through 43. Father, I just ask for purity in voice and articulation so that this translation may be a blessing for you and all of those who are listening in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. And they all said, Amen. Miriam and Aaron oppose Moses. Miriam and Aaron began to talk against Moses because of his Cushite wife, for he had married a Cushite. Now, has the Lord spoken only through Moses? They asked. Hasn't he also spoken through us? And the Lord heard this. Now Moses was a very humble man, more humble than anyone else on the face of the earth. At once the Lord said to Moses, Aaron and Miriam, come out to the tent of meeting, all three of you. So the three of them went out. Then the Lord came down in a pillar of cloud. He stood there in the entrance to the tent and summoned Aaron and Miriam. When the two of them stepped forward, he said, listen to my words. When there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, reveal myself to them in visions. I speak to them in dreams. But this is not true of my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. With him I speak face to face, clearly and not in riddles. He sees the form of the Lord. When then, why then were you not afraid to speak against Moses, my servant Moses? The anger of the Lord burned against them, and he left them. When the cloud lifted from above the tent, Miriam's skin was leprous. It became as white as snow. Aaron's turned toward her and saw that she had a defiling skin disease. And he said to Moses, please, my Lord, I ask, You do not hold against us the sin we have so foolishly committed. Do not let her be like a stillborn infant coming from its mother's womb, with its flesh half eaten away. So Moses cried out to the Lord, Please, God, heal her. The Lord replied to Moses, If her father had spit in her face, would she not have been in disgrace for 7 days? Confine her outside the camp for 7 days. After that, she can be brought back. So Miriam was confined outside the camp for 7 days, and the people did not move on until she was brought back. After that, the prophet left Hazareth and encamped in the desert of Paran. 13. Exploring Canaan. The Lord said to Moses, Send some men to explore the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the Israelites. From each ancestral tribe send one of its leaders. So the Lord's command Moses sent them out from the desert of Paran. All of them were leaders of Israelites. These are their names. From the tribe of Reuben, Shammua, son of Zechur. From the tribe of Simon, Shaphat, son of Hori. From the tribe of Judah, Caleb, son of Jephunneh. From the tribe of Ephraim, Hosea, son of Nun. From the tribe of Issachar, Ilgah, son of Joseph. From the tribe of Benjamin, Palit, son of Raphu. From the tribe of Zebulun, Gaddiel, son of Sadi. From the tribe of Manasseh, a tribe of Joseph, Gadi, son of Suzi. From the tribe of Dan, Amiel, son of Gemalli. From the tribe of Asher, Sethur, son of Michael. From the tribe of Naphtali, Neab, son of Vaspasi. From the tribe of Gad, Gayul, son of Makai. These are the names of the men Moses sent to explore the land. Moses gave Hosea's son of Nun the name Joshua. When Moses sent them to explore Canaan, he said, Go up through the Negev and on to the hill country. See what the land is like, and whether the people who live there are strong or weak, few or many. What kind of land do they live in? Is it good or bad? What kind of towns do they live in? Are they walled or fortified? How is the soil? Is it fertile or poor? Are there trees in it or not? Do your best to bring back some of the fruit of the land. It was the season for the first ripe grapes. So they went up and explored the land from the desert of Zin as far as Rehab toward Lebo Hamath. They went up through the Negev and came to Hebron, where Ahiman, Shishai, and Talmai, the descendants of Anak lived. Hebron had been built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. And when they reached the valley of Eshcol, they cut off a branch bearing a single cluster of grapes. 2 of them carried it on one pole between them, along with some pomegranates and figs. That place was called the Valley of Eshcol because of the cluster of grapes the Israelites cut off there. At the end of 40 days, they returned from exploring the land. report on the exploration. They came back to Moses and Aaron and the whole Israelite community at Kadesh in the desert of Paran. There they reported to them and to the whole assembly, and showed them the fruit of the land. They gave Moses this account: We went into the land to which you sent us, and it does flow with milk and honey. Here is its fruit. But the people who live there are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. We even saw distance of Anak there, descendants of Anak there. The Amalekites live in the Negev, and the Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live near the sea and along the Jordan. Then Caleb silenced the people before Moses and said, We should go up and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it. But the men who had gone up with him said, We can't attack those people. They are stronger than we are. And they spread among the Israelites a bad report about the land they had explored. They said, The land we explored devours those living in it. All the people we saw there are of great size. We saw the Nephilim there. The descendants of Anak come from Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them. The people rebelled. That night all the members of the community raised their voices and wept aloud. All the Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron, and the whole assembly said to them, If only we had died in Egypt or in the wilderness. Why is the Lord bringing us to this land, only to let us fall by the sword? Our wives and children will be taken as plunder. Wouldn't it be better for us to go back to Egypt? And they said to each other, We should choose a leader and go back to Egypt. Then Moses and Aaron fell face down in front of the whole Israelite assembly gathered there. Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had explored the land, tore their clothes and said to the entire Israelite assembly, The land we passed through and explored is exceedingly good. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will lead us into the land, and a land of milk flowing with milk and honey, and will give it to us. Only do not rebel against the Lord, and do not be afraid of the people of the land, because he will devour them. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. Do not be afraid of them. But the whole assembly talked about stoning them. And then the glory of the Lord appeared at the tent of meeting to all the Israelites. The Lord said to Moses, How long will these people that treat me with contempt, how long will they refuse to believe me, or to believe in me? In spite of all the signs I have performed among them, I will strike them down with a plague and destroy them, but I will make you into a nation greater and stronger than they. Moses said to the Lord, The Egyptians will hear about it by your power. You brought these people up from among them, and they will tell the inhabitants of this land about it. They have already heard that you, Lord, are with these people, and that you, Lord, have been seen face to face, and that your cloud stays over them, and that you go before them in a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. If you put all these people to death, leaving none alive, the nation who have heard this report about you will say, The Lord was not able to bring these people into the land he promised them, an oath. So he slaughtered them in the wilderness. Now may the Lord's strength be displayed, just as you have declared. The Lord is slow to anger, abounding in love, and forgiving sin and rebellion. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children for the sins of the parents, so the third and fourth generations. In accordance with your great love, forgive the sin of these people, just as you have pardoned them from the time they left Egypt until now. The Lord replied, I have forgiven them as you asked. Nevertheless, as surely as I live, and as surely as the glory of the Lord fills the whole earth, not one of those who saw my glory and the signs I performed in Egypt and in the wilderness, but who disobeyed me and teased me 10 times, not one of them will ever see the land I promised on an oath to their ancestors. Not one who has treated me with contempt will ever see it. But because my servant Caleb has a different spirit and follows me wholeheartedly, I will bring him into the land he went to, and his descendants will inherit it. Since the Amalek and the Canaanites are living in the valleys, turn back tomorrow and set out toward the desert along the route of the Red Sea. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, How long will this wicked community grumble against me? I have heard the complaints of these grumbling Israelites. So tell them, as surely as I live, declares the Lord, I will do to you the very thing I heard you say. In the wilderness your bodies will fall, every one of you 20 years old or more, who was counted in the census and who has grumbled against me. Not one of you will enter the land I swore with uplifted hand to make your home, except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. As for your children that you said would be taken as plunder, I will bring them into enjoy the land you have rejected. But as far as your bodies will fall in the wilderness, your children will be shepherds for 40 years, suffering for your unfaithfulness, until the last of your bodies lies in the wilderness. For 40 years, 1 year for each of the 40 days you explored the land, you will suffer for your sins, and know what it is like to have me against you. I, the Lord, have spoken, and I will surely do these things to this whole wicked community, which has banded together against me. They will meet their ends in the wilderness. Here they will die. So the men Moses had sent to explore the land, who returned and made the whole community grumble against him by spreading a bad report about it, these men who were responsible for spreading the bad report about the land were struck down and died of a plague before the Lord. Of the men who went to explore the land, only Joshua son of Nun and Caleb son of Jephunneh survived. When Moses reported this to all the Israelites, they mourned bitterly. Early the next morning they set out for the highest points in the hill country, saying, Now we are ready to go up to the land the Lord promised. Surely we have sinned. But Moses said, Why are you disobeying the Lord's command? This you will not succeed. Do not go up, because the Lord is not with you. You will be defeated by your enemies. For the Amalekites and the Canaanites will face you there. Because you have turned away from the Lord, he will not be with you, and you will fall by the sword. Nevertheless, in their presumption they went up toward the heights point in the hill country. though neither Moses nor the ark of the Lord's covenant moved from the camp. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who lived in that hill country came down and attacked them and beat them down all the way to Homeran, Homra, Homa. There you go, Homa. Bear with, folks. Sorry. All right, we've finished Numbers 12 and 14, 12 through 14. Now we're going to move on to Mark 5, 21 through 43. Jesus raised a dead girl and heals a sick woman. When Jesus had again crossed over by boat to the other side of the lake, a large crowd gathered around him while he was by the lake. Then one of the synagogue leaders, named Jairus, came, and when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet. He pleaded earnestly with him, "My little daughter is dying. Please come and put your hands on her, so that she will be healed and live." So Jesus went with him. A large crowd followed and passed around him. And a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors, and had spent all she had, yet instead of getting better, she grew worse. And when she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak, because she thought, "If I just touched his clothes, I will be healed." Immediately her bleeding stopped, and she felt in her body that she was freed from her suffering. At once Jesus realized that power had gone out from him. He turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my clothes?" "You see the people crowding against you," his disciples answered, "and yet you can ask, 'Who touched me?'" But Jesus kept looking around to see who had done it. Then the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell at his feet, and trembling with fear, told him the whole truth. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." While Jesus was still speaking, some people came from the house of Jairus, the synagogue leader. "Your daughter is dead," they said. "Why bother the teacher any more?" Overhearing what they had said, Jesus told him, "Don't be afraid, just believe." He did not let anyone follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. When they came to the home of the synagogue leader, Jesus saw a commotion with people crying and wailing loudly. He went in and said to them, "Why all this commotion and wailing? The child is not dead, but asleep." But they laughed at him. And after he put them all out, he took the child's father and mother and the disciples who were with him, and went in where the child was. He took her by the hand and said to her, "Talitha koum," which means, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." Immediately the girl stood up and began to walk around. She was 12 years old. At this they were completely astonished. He gave strict orders not to let anyone know about this, and told them to give her something to eat. And that concludes the Bible with Briscoe for today. And so, come back tomorrow, and we will be covering Numbers 15 through 16 and Mark 1 through 29. Father, I just pray that this was a blessing to you, and I also pray that it was a blessing to everyone who listened, and that all of those of you come back tomorrow, and we will continue with the Bible with Briscoe, and in the meanwhile, have a blessed day. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. And they all said, amen.